Hello, everybody. Today we are getting started with our chapter for vocabulary. This is the first chapter that we ever do for vocabulary, that is vocabulary 1. As we all know that vocabulary is nothing but knowledge of words. And as we know that words are equally important to be known and to be understood, we need to be familiar with certain words because there are questions in the CAT and other exams which test you on the knowledge of words. So today in this session, we will be discussing two things. One, we will introduce ourselves to vocabulary. Second, we will look at ways to improve our vocabulary. And next, we'll be talking about analogy and odd word out. Now, when we start with introduction, what are our top three reasons to improve, your vocabulary? Let us not consider top three. Let us consider top one reason. Now, when I say what is the topmost reason for any person to improve on vocabulary, it is obviously communication skills, right? So, yes, vocabulary improves your communication. It makes your communication stronger and effective. It is not about saying fancy words to impress someone, rather, it is about being able to choose your words with greater precision. So, when you choose your words with greater precision, when you know in which place what you have to speak, that will make your vocabulary very simple and effective. So, a good vocabulary makes your communication simple and effective. Vocabulary opens your mind. When I say vocabulary opens your mind, it makes you familiar with ways that you would have never considered before. Reading is also a must. That is why we recommend and we tell you all to, read and read as much as possible. Because reading not only enlightens you with a lot of things, but reading also helps you to learn words. So, in turn, supports vocabulary. So, when you lack words, you shut down new insights and lines of reasoning. So you are not looking at certain aspects of life, certain reasonings. But when you learn new word, you learn new ways and ideas that you would have never considered before. And trust me, this does happen. So it is very essential for us to learn words and keep reading and keep enhancing our skills and developing ourselves and updating ourselves. Third is nothing but professional success. So it gets you results. We know that English is a mandate whether we like it or not. We know that we need to communicate in this language in our offices, in our colleges, during professional communication, right? And since we have to do that, we ought to know good words. So, professional success depends entirely on thinking and communication skills. Now we move on to how will we improve our vocabulary. So, if I have to improve our memory and I have to retain words not just temporarily but forever, I need to learn new words based on the functions of a word, right? Now, what are the functions of a word? The functions of a word are basically threefold. One is to write, the other is to speak, and the third one is to think. So we have threefold functions: to write, to speak, and to think. When I say to write, what are you learning? Okay, we are taking speaking first. So when I say to speak, what do you learn? You learn the correct pronunciation. When I say to write, what are you learning now? You're learning the correct spelling. And when I say to think, what are you learning? You're learning the literal and figurative meanings. So, yes, it is threefold. One is to learn the correct pronunciation, second is to learn the correct spelling, and third and the last one is to learn the correct meaning. Now, this is a word given here. What do you think this word would mean? And how would it be pronounced? So, to understand this process, we're taking a word on the functions. So this is the word Borgeois. Now normally people pronounce it as Bourgeois or Bourgeois. So let us see the correct pronunciation. It is bourgeois. And how can you learn the correct pronunciation is by going to the audio button. So you go to the audio button in your online dictionaries, you hear the word, you say the word loudly to yourself, not once but many times. One more way is you write it down like the way it is pronounced. So yes, the spelling is like this, but the pronunciation is written this way. So for bourgeois, you could write it down as BURZW double triple AH or a double AH. That would be bourgeois. Next, you need to learn the spelling. So you notice the combination of spellings and syllables. You break it up. You remember that the word bourgeois has a B followed by our, followed by geo, followed by is. Our is a pronoun, geo is a prefix, is a verb. So they are all syllables which make independent sense on their own. If you remember it this way, you will never forget the spelling. And the spelling is easily learned. Meaning, for the meaning, we obviously need to refer to the dictionary. When I refer to the dictionary, I don't just pick up the meaning and rote learn it by heart. I mean, I don't need to by heart it. So the best thing I do is I refer to the dictionary and pick up a context. So what does bourgeois basically mean? Bourgeois means relating to or the characteristic of the social middle class. When I talk about a noun, it's a middle class person. The plural form would become bourgeoisie. So while learning the meaning, keep the context in mind. Pick up a bit of context with it and remember the word. As I said, don't rote learn. Pick up the context and remember it that way. So when I say modern bourgeois society, so what does bourgeois mean? Middle class. So hence it will be called as modern middle class society. So in this sense, if you remember, you will never forget the word. So we've gone through introduction. We've also done the ways of remembering or retaining a word. Now we go to the questions, that is analogy and odd word out. So in this lesson, we're going to study two things. First, analogy, next, odd word. How do we tackle analogy and what do we mean by analogy? So analogy is nothing but a comparison of two apparently unrelated terms. So when I put these terms in front of each other, they may look like they are unrelated. However, when they're put across each other, they are related in some or similar in some respect. Let us see an example now. What are we supposed to do in these questions is when we see the pair, we are required to choose the option that has the same or the most similar relationship. However, you may also be asked to find out the least similar relationship depending on the questions. So most similar works like synonyms, least similar works like antonyms. Let us take an example. Apprentice is to plumber. Now I don't know for how many of you all these words are familiar and what do you mean by an apprentice in response to a plumber. And we need to find out the option that is most similar to the key pair. That will be my scoring option. How to solve these questions? Let us look at a systematic manner. First, I will establish the relationship between the key pair. Second, I will try to construct a short sentence or phrase to express that relationship. Right? So I'll have a short sentence or a phrase that clearly expresses the relationship given. So I have the question as apprentices to plumber. Now, apprentice is a trainee basically who trains under a plumber to become one, or who trains under anybody to become one. So, in a short sentence or a phrase that I have to construct, I express it as an apprentice trains to become a plumber. How to solve analogy questions? This is my question, right? An apprentice trains to become a plumber. Now, what I will do is I will substitute the words in the option in the same order. So I'll go to the options and I will try to substitute the words in the sentence as, does a player train to become a coach? No. Does a child train to become a parent? Obviously not. Does a student train to become a teacher? Not in every case, right? So what my answer is? My answer is the fourth one, that definitely an intern trains to become a doctor, correct? So first step, I'm repeating or reiterating it that yes, we need to establish a clear relationship between words. Next, what we need to do is we need to set up a general relationship sentence. Third, we need to substitute our options. Fourth, we need to eliminate incorrect or inferior options. And last but not the least is we need to discover the answer choice. Now, moving on to the other type of question. Now, this is something that is familiar to each one of you all. Odd man out, odd word out. We've been doing this since high school. So, from the four or five given words, you're asked to mark the one word that does not belong to the same classification as others. Let's take an example. So, if I say kiwi, eagle, emu, penguin, ostrich, I have five words. Which one is odd? Many students take it as kiwi because they say kiwi is a fruit and others are birds, but that's incorrect reasoning. We have to look at what is common rather than looking at what is odd. When we look at what is common, I directly get something that is odd. So the answer to this is eagle. The reason being kiwi, emu, penguin, ostrich all are flightless birds. Only eagle is the bird that can fly. So moving ahead, let us see what strategy should we employ in order to get answers for our odd word out. When you choose the odd word out, your reasoning has to be positive. As I just said, try to find out what is common among the words rather than finding what is odd about some other word. Check if something is common in spelling, sequence, number of vowels, and such patterns, right? So if there's something common in spelling, that could also be a reasoning for odd word out. Check if something is common about the sound, maybe pronunciation, maybe homophones, which are similar sounding words. So even that would somewhere, confirm that yeah, this could be odd word out. Check if the words are related by association, that is parts of something versus the thing itself. Ultimately, you try to discover the classification that other words can come under. When we said the fourth point that words are related by association, you could think at the logic of prefix and suffix relating to the entire word. Now, you can also have weird reasoning. So, this is completely based on out of box reasoning. So, this question would seem very logical when you would give the answer as Earth. Venus, Saturn, Earth, Mercury, Neptune, and I'm sure you would want to mark Earth and give the logic as Earth has life and other planets do not have life. And yes, indeed, the answer is Earth. But you look at the reasoning. The reasoning says all except Earth denote Roman or Greek gods or goddesses. Now, one would have never thought of this. And hence, ultimately, it's nothing but the test writer's imagination versus yours. Good that you don't have to give a brilliant explanation. It's only that you have to find what is odd. So look at the reasoning that is positive. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.